Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, February 14th. It is 6:24 right now. Market's going to open in about 6 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick, and then we will get started shortly. It's got a few things here to update, and we should be good to go. All right, so before we start the session, I'm going to go and explain the entry I took here pre-market. All right, let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium, and we can get started. So I can cover that entry right before we start with the analysis for today. There you go. This link posted over here as well. All right, so it looks like people are still making their way in, guys. As people continue to join, let's give it a few moments for people to make their way in. And then once we have enough people in here, I'll go over that entry real quick. One more other place for me to post this link up, or Instagram. Let's see. All right. All right. Looks like we're good to go. So good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, February 14th. It is 6:26 right now. Market's going to open in about 4 minutes. Looks like majority of you guys are in the room so far. So right before we get started, let me go ahead and just cover the entry that I took not too long ago. Let me see what's here so far. Let me scroll up real quick. Hey, Peter, how's it going? Morning. Morning, Kenny. Morning, Stern. Morning, Oscar. Morning, David. Morning, Martha. Morning, Shannon. Morning, Nick. Morning, Shaka. Morning, Ruin. Morning, Alan. I know, Ruin. Yeah, I got to order some of these shirts, and I'll put them on the website. Morning, Van Hartwig. Morning, Rashida. Morning, Karen. Morning, Ross. Morning, Alan. No problem. Glad I could help you on the mentoring session yesterday. I'll have the shirts up in a while, Shannon. I need to order another set because these were just like a test sample, and then obviously I like them, so I'm going to go ahead and order some more for you guys here. Morning, Sam. Morning, AR. Morning, Geary. All right, guys. So the trade that I took this morning, so you guys can see, I took a pre-market trade here, locking 1,560 on my main account. This is my 400K FTMO account, locked in with a green strip. We're gonna let that run a full TP. MFF locked in 1,500. MFF number 2 locked in 1,490, and then my MFF number 3 locked in 1,490 as well. Yeah, it's crazy. Whenever I wear the shirt, guys, I feel like it's good luck because I always win like pretty heavy on these days. But anyways, the trade that I took here pre-market it was a speculative trade. It kind of pointed me in the direction of the trade because I saw where price was going. I was waiting for a momentum scalp variation, but we never got the buy signal, so I never got the momentum scalp failure. But what I took here was I looked on the higher time frames. You guys can see right here we had a wick rejection on the 1 hour off the pivots, wick rejection off the pivots here on the 30-minute, wick rejection here off the 10-minute. wick rejection here off the 5-minute and wick rejection off the 1-minute right here, right? So when I saw that right there, I was like, okay, there's a nice rejection here. Price retraced up super heavy. And I was like, okay, it's going to come right back down because it came up hard at the big green candle and then it rejected off super heavily right here with the strong red candle, right? So when I saw that right there, I was like, okay, this makes sense because rejection. I was like, this thing has to drop at least 100 pips, right? After that. So what happened is I took the sell right there because obviously we had sell bias. I was like, okay, I'm going to take a sell. And I just took it for 100 pips. If I held on to that though, look how far it dropped. 1,000 pips. I could have made like 10K off that trade, but it's all good. You know, it's not a woulda, coulda, shoulda type thing. It's like, you know, what did I lock in? What did I feel comfortable about? I saw the sessions right there. So I pretty much just wrote it to the sessions. My entry was a little bit late. So it actually gave me this much, 1,500. That's why my profit here was 1,560. So like whenever you guys take a trade, you know, sometimes it's better to be safe than sorry. You know, of course I could have taken a bigger move there, but that's not my trading style. So I just went in for a quick 100 pips, got in and out, locked in a pretty good profit to kick off the trading session. So, all right, guys, market is opening in about 2 seconds and market is now open. So let's see where price ends up going from here. There's no real direction here with regard to the higher time frame. So there's no breakout 2.0, unfortunately, but, you know, obviously it looks like price may be coming down here as price starts to shift lower and lower. So we'll see what happens in the next few minutes, but market is now open. Opening price is right here. Just keep in mind that there was CPI news today. So obviously market is going to be moving a little crazy today with volatility. There's a huge drop right here, continuation with the drop earlier today. So nice continuation right there. Let me go ahead and mark this up. NYSE open price, so that you guys know what price that is. We had news over here at 6:30, or so we had news at 5:30. We had news at 5:55. At 5:30, it was CPI. It was huge inflation news. You guys can see here, our price kind of spiked down, faked out, spiked up, faked out, came right back below. And kind of jumped around a bit before continuing to the downside. So this was a CPI news inflation earlier. And then this is the news right here that we had at 6:55. I didn't realize there was news at that time, but I pulled up my FX book and there was news over here at 5:55. It was called Red Book for the year. So, all right, guys, market is now open. Looks like we're looking for sells here. As you guys can see, reason for us looking for sells is because price is below the pivots. Pivots are angling down and the trend meter is red across all the 3 time frames. So this indicates that we are in a sell trend or bearish trend, whatever you want to call it, on the shorter time frames. Higher time frames over here, it's starting to shift below as well. So you see the 1 hour here starting to shift below, 30-minute shifting below, 10-minute shifting below. I don't recommend anyone really chase this, but I mean, if you want to, the breakout is currently running, I believe. Let me go ahead and maximize this chart because we already have an idea as to where we're going to be trading. So this is a breakout right here. I don't know if anyone took it. I didn't take it, obviously. I don't take the breakout really too much. Looks like it already went straight to TP. So I didn't take it, but if you took it, great. Let's see, morning tea. I see Frederick said, oh my God, it already looks like there's another slow day. Absolutely no volatility. Today was like crazy. I mean, this big drop, well, it's inflation news, right? So I think stuff will, hopefully there's volatility in both directions, but I mean, I don't know. We'll see where it ends up going. We have, let's see, nice Brock ticket for 10 pips. Solid work there, Brock. Took a partial move of the breakout. I didn't take the breakout, of course, but if you guys took it, great. Let me scroll up real quick. Nice. Will City took it a few minutes before mine. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, Alan said gold has fallen hard. Yeah, looking over here at gold, guys, gold is also dumping. Looks like all of the indices right now are currently, or indices and gold, they all kind of move in the same direction because they're all like based off the US dollar. I'm assuming the inflation news here wasn't good. I wasn't really following the news, but I already knew it was going to be good. Or actually it was like neutral. It was neutral, but it wasn't necessarily good. So last month it was 6.5, right here it's 6.4. So it's not really necessarily a good thing. It was just better than expected. They were forecasting it to be 6.2, but it was 6.4. So yeah, necessarily not a good thing, but in hindsight view, I guess it was a good thing because they were expecting it to be 6.2, but it's only 6.4. But we are going to recession, guys. So whether we like it or not, the market is not doing good, right? So we'll see where this ends up playing out. This might just be a temporary push and it might just come right back up, but who knows? Looking over here on the higher time frames. So here's the thing that I'd probably be looking for. I'd look for this on the 1 hour time frame, because this candle over here still has about 26 minutes left on it, right? What I would look for here is I would see how this candle here closes, because right now we're obviously looking for sells because everything here looks like a sell, right? But the 1 hour over here is still leading, right? So what I would look for here is I would look for the 1 hour to confirm whether it's going to close above this pivot. Because if it closes above this pivot, then what do we get? We get a wick rejection off this red pivot, which is the strongest pivot here, right? Whenever you see price rejecting off the strongest pivot, it typically continues in that direction, because it's, obviously it's the strongest one. But we have 25 minutes left on it, so it's a lot of time. So we don't really know what's going to happen from now in 25 minutes. We can kind of assume that price may continue to drop lower. But what I'm saying is, if, in the next 25 minutes, if this rejects directly off this point, then we might have that correction back to the upside. So just be patient, guys. There's no entries for us to take here. Obviously, we're still looking for sells here. Everything's bearish. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go and maximize the 1 minute time frame. Chart's kind of messy right here. You can see there's a lot of back and forth movement pre-market and prior to the CPI news, but it looks like we're starting to get some smoother movement here. So let me go ahead and mark up the strategies that we'll be applying. Momentum scalp failure, number 1. Momentum scalp variation, number 2. And momentum scalp, number 3. 3 main strategies we'll be applying here. Nothing new. This is pretty much our main focus for the entire year. I'm pretty much just only going to be applying these 3 strategies. So just focus on mastering these 3 strategies, guys, and you guys should have no problem on these live sessions, because that's literally all we'll be doing. These 3 strategies right here. I don't think there's any other news for this morning. Let me just pull up the calendar real quick to confirm. There is news at 8 o'clock, but that's completely fine. There's nothing else for us to really worry about until then. It wouldn't matter because we're going to be done trading by 8 o'clock. So 8 o'clock is the cutoff for our trading day. And that's when Fed Logan starts to speak. So in my opinion, I don't think that you guys should be trading after the live session. I know typically a lot of you guys still like to trade after, but looking at this here, the Fed's speaking all day today. We have Fed member Logan speaking at 8, 10-day bill auction at 8:30, Fed member Harker speaking at 8:30, and Fed member Williams speaking at 11:05. I was looking at the news this morning too. It looks like Biden is going to be moving Fed Brainerd to his, he's going to be basically moving her to his top economic advisor. So she's going to be one to pay attention to. You know how we pay attention to Powell? When the Fed speaks, she's going to be one of the main people to focus on, because she's going to be the top advisor in the White House. So just keep that in mind, guys. Whenever we look for Fed members to speak, I don't think Brainerd's speaking today, but just keep that in mind in the future. Her name stands out, it's Brainerd, so it's hard to miss. I don't think she's speaking. Let me see if I can search it here. No, she's not speaking this week, obviously, because she's getting promoted to top economic advisor. But whenever she speaks, that's probably a time to really be careful in the market too. She'll be like one of the main people. Let me scroll up real quick. Eunice is asking, do we have a sell bias now? Yes, we do. We currently have a sell bias right now, Eunice, with regard to the trend. So looking over here on the 1 minute, 5 minute, and 10 minute time frames, you can see that price is below the pivots. The trend meter is red on all 3 time frames, and the pivots are angling down, right? So we have a sell bias with regard to trend. This right here was a momentum scalp failure entry, guys. So there's one entry that's current. Well, it already ran to TP, it looks like. So momentum scalp failure. I think it already ran into TP. Oh, fuck. I just missed the move. Sorry, guys. I totally missed this move right here. It happened too fast. Yeah, it literally happened. I was looking at the momentum scalp variation right here, guys. Yeah, this move happened like way too fast. Like literally as soon as the candle closed, I was thinking about entering it, but it just blast through. So there was no momentum scalp failure here, guys, because the volume was above average, but there was a momentum scalp variation right here that I totally missed. I wasn't expecting this candle here to close below the pivots, because I thought this was going to keep pushing back up in retracement, but unfortunately it just spiked down super fast. So if you guys took it, it just went straight to your TP. immediately. So yeah, no momentum scalp failure there. I probably would have skipped this one because, typically I want these to follow. If these two don't follow here and the volume's too high for a bullish candle, then this, increases the risk because you're not sure which direction price will really, continue in. There is a momentum scalp that's coming up right here, but I mean, I'm just looking at the way that price is moving right now. It's very volatile. So you want to be very careful about taking these entries because, this can really go either way. This was good for a 1030 entry, but now I'm looking over here for momentum scalp entry. And, you might have to use a 2550 on this one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nick said, seems like a bit of a trap with how high sentiment is. And then Jay over here also mentioned Trap Tuesday. Yeah, today's Trap Tuesday, guys. So just be careful with your entries here. Because, the way that price is moving right here, I think it's a little too volatile. We like volatility, but we don't like too much. This is like, it can instantly just spike the other way, right? So I'm going to wait for the next setup. I'm going to see if a momentum scalp failure actually plays out, because with the volatility right now, this thing's going back and forth so quickly that the last thing you want to do is enter a trade, and then it goes straight to your stop loss, and then it comes right back to your TP. And price right now is actually ranging. So if you look over here, price actually established a range right here. So I probably would just hold off right now. I'm just going to wait for the setups to reset again. So we probably have a momentum scalp on the way. Right here was not a momentum scalp failure. Momentum scalp variation did come up right after right here, but it happened way too quickly. We weren't able to catch it. The next entry that would be coming up would be a momentum scalp. However, price is going sideways right here. So if you remember looking at my red flags, so red flags over here, when to avoid trades. When price is near sessions, basically any of the horizontal lines here. Whenever price is near sessions, which is this purple, green, or red line over here. Whenever price is near opening price, which is this blue line right here. Whenever price is near news price, which is these pink lines over here. Whenever candle prior to entry is too large, whenever price is ranging. So price is obviously ranging right here. So I'm going to avoid these trades until we have another setup. So I'm just waiting for this to reset. As I mentioned, guys, these entries here come up in order. So right now, the last one that's lingering is going to be the momentum scalp, but price is currently ranging right here. It's not a good area to trade because you want price to be going up or you want price to be going down. But look at where price is going right now. It's going sideways. So it's not a good area to be trading in. So we'll hold off on this for now, guys. We're going to wait for something to confirm here. Once something confirms and we have an actual direction, we'll start looking for an entry. But it looks like price is pushing up right here. The only entry that we have coming up is a momentum scalp. So we can't start everything over until we have this one that comes up. Because in order for us to have a momentum scalp failure, we need to have a buy signal, right? We currently already have a buy signal. So in order for us to have another one, we need to have a sell signal first. So, all right, we are waiting for this to play out. Yeah, Tyler said it wasn't volume too high. Yeah, that's what we just mentioned, Tyler. That's why I wouldn't have taken the momentum scalp variation here, because I typically only want to take these when they follow up after the original. So this one over here didn't play out, so I wouldn't have taken this one, because this is how we lost last time. If you guys remember last time, we lost the trade last week because we took this right after this one, but this one wasn't a valid entry. So for me personally, I want to only give you guys quality entries. So if I see something quality, I'll call it out. But, for example, here, this thing happened way too fast where I couldn't identify it. It did play out, but it didn't play out the way that I would have wanted it to, because I like these to play out in order. Because when they play out in order, they're typically going to do what they're supposed to do. So, all right, guys, we're gonna wait for this to reset again. The only entry that we currently have that could possibly come up would be a momentum scalp over here. But until then, it's got to sit tight. Yeah, let's check the sentiment. So like Nick mentioned the sentiment. Let me go and check that real quick. Yeah, sentiment's pretty high, 69%. So with this right here, I think for a long-term price will correct back up. That was kind of what I was mentioning earlier. So let's go over here real quick to the 1 hour. So guys, looking back at the 1 hour here, remember I was mentioning this from earlier this morning. This candle still has 16 minutes left on it. So keep an eye out for this 1 hour candle. If we see a wick rejection off this pivot right here, then I'm probably expecting price to correct back up, right? Possibly, not for sure, but possibly. This is going to be a hint that, okay, price failed to break and close below the pivot. So guess what's going to happen? A correction back to the upside. So yeah, Nick, so like how you were looking at sentiment over here, this is what would be used on a higher confluence, right? Because obviously we're trading short term, so it doesn't really matter. But if you're looking for a correction back up, this is what you're looking for it to close as. So I already had this marked up from earlier this morning, about 20 minutes ago. So this is what you'd be looking for. And look where it's pushing up to. So in the next 15 minutes, if this here closes like this, where there's a wick rejection off it, then where do you think price is going? It's going right back to open. That's target price point right there. And then what do you think happens if price breaks above there? Right, breaks above it, retest, continuation. So you're not on the wrong track, Nick. You're using the retail sentiment in the proper way if you're looking at it from a long-term perspective. So we'll see where this ends up going, guys. But price can still go either way. You just want to wait for this here to confirm. If this here confirms, I'm going to be looking for the 30-minute over here to do the same thing, right? I'm going to be looking for this over here to push up, retest the pivot, and push back up right there. If I get that right there, that's going to be the same entry that I took this morning. Same with the 10-minute over here. I'm going to be looking for the same thing. So if we get that, then I'm going to start looking for buys at that point, right? But the main thing here is just patience, guys. Patience and discipline. Because the thing is, you can get caught on the wrong side here, whether you're taking a buy or a sell. You can be caught on the wrong side on either trade. But it's really, if you have the patience to wait for this to play out and confirm, then you'll be on the right side. Right now, we're obviously like price, the bias right now is a sell, but this can easily shift. It doesn't have to stay a sell forever, right? This has to correct at some point. We're trading US30. This asset here typically is a bullish asset. So it's going to have to correct at some point. This thing can't just keep dropping forever, right? So just be patient, guys. Here's my markup right here. It's going right to my target price point, opening price. And then now let's see what happens if price continues to the upside. If that happens, then my main target price point next is going to be news price up here, right? Because that's like the next main structure. This is the CPI news from this morning. So you can see how CPI news over here, it made price come super heavily down. If it corrects back up, this is going to be the target price point. So yeah, all opinions here are good. They're all great. So thanks for everybody putting their input. Nick has been looking for any possible traps here for a buy. And, it's the correction might play out here. You just got to wait for the 1 hour here to correct. This has about 13 minutes left on it. My markup here that I marked up earlier, it's playing out perfectly. I mentioned this is what to look out for. If this ends up playing out like this, then the correction is going to play out on the higher time frames. Because the 1 hour is still, even though we're scalping here, the 1 hour is still leading, right? The higher time frames are going to show you where price is going to go long term. The way that Nick is analyzing the markets with retail sentiment, he's anticipating a buy here because all the retail traders are selling. What do you think is going to happen to all these retail traders? They're going to get stopped out, right? It was at 69%. Where is it at now? 68. Now it's back to 69. What do you think is happening to these people here? Why do you think it keeps dropping? Because they're getting stopped out. Whoever's in a sell right now, this shows that there's 69% of retail traders who are currently selling. This thing's pushing right back up. If this thing pushes all the way back up, their stop losses are going to get demolished. So just measuring this from here right now, price has already corrected up 1,550 pips. What's everyone's average stop loss, right? It's typically around max of 1,000. So whoever's within this area is getting, their account's getting blown right now. So don't get caught in this right here, guys. This is why I always mention that you guys have to be patient, because if you guys are chasing the sells here, you can easily get your account blown because this thing is still going to be correcting back up. And if this closes here in the next 10 minutes, that's probably what's going to play out. So no entries yet for us, guys. As you guys can see, my markup here is playing out. If this is the case here where price starts to correct to the upside, then we're going to start looking for buys. Once we have price above here, we have a correction of trend, then we're going to start looking for some buys. That's why I haven't been taking anything here yet. I'm just waiting for confirmation. There was no entries down here. So the only entry that was down here was a momentum scalp variation, which already hit full TP. And now if price corrects back to the upside, then you might start looking for some buys. It's only 6:48, so we still have like about an hour left in the market, or actually over an hour. We have an hour and 10 minutes until 8. So we got a lot of time here. It's just going to be a matter of waiting for this correction to play out. So what I'm looking for here is, like, I'm already anticipating a possible speculative buy here for me in the next 30 minutes if this ends up closing above. So what I'm looking for here on the 30-minute is I'm looking for price to close above the pivots. And then when it retraces down, I'm looking for a rejection off the pivot on the bottom wick, and then a correction back to the upside. And this is how I took the earlier entry, but for a sell. So this candle here has 10 minutes left on it. Has a lot of time to still push up higher. But we're just going to be waiting for it here. So yeah, I think if we get that bottom wick rejection on pretty much all time frames, it's going to be an initiation of the swing to the upside. Basically a correction from today's news. Because news price is right here. So if price pushes above it, it's going to go and just push up higher and higher. Hey, Active, how's it going? Morning. Barack said, I'm realizing I took it on S&P 500. What a mess could have been in if it didn't move in the same direction. Yeah, luckily for you, Barack, S&P typically does move in the same direction. So you're probably okay with that. Frederick mentioned, Barack, if I were you, I'd edit my watch list. I only have US30. Yeah, I literally only have US30 on my chart. I mean, I have other windows here. One thing that I also have, guys, is I have the watermark right here for YM, so I know exactly what I'm trading. Barack said, I love how the pivots guide entries. Epic. Golden, it's a masterpiece. Yeah, exactly. It guides the direction of price, right? So like, here we go, as price pushes up right here. There goes the push to the upside. My whole analysis from this morning is playing out perfectly. This is what I mentioned earlier. So I was like, okay, wait for the 1 hour to close. And I'm pretty sure it's going to close above it. So I think price, we're going to have a shift to the upside. It might not be a super smooth shift, but I'm expecting that shift to the upside. So you can see right here on the 1 minute, I drew this up right here, and it's playing out perfectly. I went to the first target right here. Next target price point ultimately is going to be news price up here. So we're going to hit first target. It's moving to the next one up here. And my analysis here, guys, like if you guys know how to trade off my analysis, you guys can take trades off my analysis, right? If you guys know, if you have strategies to apply on going this direction, then you can do that. However, for myself, the only entries that I'm going to be calling for you guys, which are going to be considered official, are going to be these strategies right here. All my speculative moves are not counting towards the results, because I want to show you guys proof of concept that these strategies work. As long as you guys just focus on these 3 strategies, you might not have entries all the time, but when you do have entries, they're going to hit. Unfortunately, we missed the sell down here, but it's all good. We're going to move on to the next one. And that's one thing too, guys, like when you guys miss a trade, don't FOMO into the next move, right? Just wait for the next one to come up. I think that's a big problem with a lot of people. Like if you guys hop into trades because you missed the initial entry, a lot of times it's already too late. Hey, nice. How's it going? Morning. All right, 6:52 right now. It's getting close to 7. You got about 7 minutes over here on the 30, 7 minutes on the 1 hour. So that's kind of what we're looking for here. Same with the 10-minute over here, guys. I'm looking for this to close above the pivots. If it closes above the pivots, I'm going to wait for that retracement and look for the bottom wick rejection off the pivot. And then that's going to be a confirmation that price is going to be correcting to the upside. Right now, we still don't have a confirmation. If you look over here on the 1, 5, and 10, price is in between the pivots. So it's still a bit indecisive right now. So there's no confirmation yet. And I don't recommend just hopping into a trade for no reason right now. Wait for that confirmation of correction. The correction is going to be to the upside because the 1 hour here is leading. 1 hour has still been bullish. So if you look over here, I'm going to maximize this chart. 1 hour has been bullish pretty much all morning. The only reason for this drop here is because of the news. So the CPI news this morning at 5:30 caused price to drop, rejected directly off the pivot. And, it's going to correct back up right here as price continues to move along. But just keep this in mind, guys. Like, these pivots here should not be your end all be all, right? This should not be your, like, you shouldn't be taking trades only off the pivots. Like, this is just going to help you identify direction of price, but you shouldn't be taking trades just directly off the pivots. There's no strategy that I have where it's directly off the pivots like this. I just want to make that clear, because I don't want you guys to think that, okay, Sean showed me this thing with the pivots, and now you think you have like this golden strategy just because you have the pivots, right? Because that's not the case here. We're only using the pivots to identify either corrections or reversals, but the real entries still come from our actual strategies. So again, right here, you can see price is coming back down. It's retesting. The 30-minute right here still has about 5 minutes left on it. These are all confluences. The pivots are used as a confluence. There's no strategy to it. It's really just, I mean, there's a strategy to it, but there's no entries based off the pivots. This is just to identify the trend and to identify, swings in trend. Because obviously we had a bearish trend here in the lower time frames, but we're looking for price to swing back up. Yeah, exactly. Brock said, true, Sean, it should be part of a strategy. Yeah, 100% Brock. So you shouldn't base everything directly off the pivots, but just use the pivots to identify direction of price. If you're looking for a sell and you see price shifting to the upside, then use the pivots to be like, okay, this is my confluence that price is going to be correcting or shifting to the other direction. And then from there, you're going to use the actual strategies for entry points. So yeah, you just always got to stay on your feet, guys, especially with the market. The market's always changing. The good thing about you guys trading with me is that I've been trading for so long. So I've been trading throughout all market conditions. So I can identify when things change. I can identify when, adjustments need to be made. That's why, like, a lot of people get stuck on like one strategy or one way of trading, and they get frustrated when the strategy stops working. We've been trading one way, but we make small variations to our strategies. That's why I have like 10 strategies here, because they're all the same strategy, but there's just different points of entry. So, all right, this candle here is closing the next 4 minutes. Just got to give it a little more time, guys. So just be patient with this here. If this ends up closing here and confirming, then we're probably going to have a shift back to the upside, right? So that's why you should never, there's always this saying that people say, don't get married to a direction, right? Because you can be looking for a sell here, but if you're so stuck on a sell, you're not going to be able to swing over and switch to a buy, because the market's never going to be going just one direction every single day. It's going to be shifting back and forth. Even though price has been dropping here for the past hour, it's correcting right back up right here, and my markup here is playing out perfectly. So our main goal here is to confirm that we have price closing above the pivots on the higher time frames, because this is going to be the initiation of a correction back to the upside. If price ends up shooting to the upside, we have a whole area right here where price needs to correct to, right? There's a high here that needs to be broken at some point. So just speculating where price is likely to go. This is where speculation is okay. It's okay to speculate where you think price is going to go, but I wouldn't speculate on specific entries unless you have already a direction. So right now, we're still confirming the direction. And then once we confirm the direction, then we can use our strategies to make entries. Right now, there's no direction. Price, well, my guess is that price is going to correct back up. I have my markups here pretty much on all the charts. And I try to make things as easy as possible for you guys to understand, right? Because trading should not be complicated. You guys should keep it as simple as possible and just stick to one trading style. If you want to trade momentum like me, then, just follow how I trade. If you want to trade support and resistance, that's kind of opposite to how I trade. So at that point, you should stick to that type of trading style. So thanks, Kenny. Kenny just posted up this link. So right now it says US Defense Secretary holds a news conference on Ukraine. Thanks, Kenny. Thanks, Nick, for the link and update there. All right, so you guys can see where I put the circle. This is a target price point. You can see price is getting closer and closer to it. This is where I'm expecting price to go if this continuation continues to push up higher, which I do think will happen, because we have about 1:30 left on this 30-minute. in a 1 hour candle. I mentioned if this here rejects off the pivot, then I'm anticipating price to continue pushing up higher and higher, right? So yeah, hopefully, well, I mean, I'm sure a lot of this stuff is starting to make sense to a lot of you guys here who are new. You know, yesterday, a lot of people chimed in on the chat and they mentioned that a lot of the stuff starting to click for them. The more and more that you guys listen to my analysis and the more and more that you guys see it visually, the more and more that'll make sense. So like, you know, every day I'm looking at the same thing, identifying the same concepts, applying the same strategies. And the more and more that you guys are paying attention, you know, the more and more it'll make sense to you because we're looking at the same thing every day. So, all right, we're still just waiting for this to play out. It was about like less than a minute left here on the 30-minute. So, all right, so I have these patterns here marked up for a correction back to the upside. The 1 hour looks perfect. It's rejecting off the pivot just like I mentioned was going to happen. The 30-minute here, I'm looking for this to close above, which it should close. It has about 20 seconds left on this candle. And then I'm looking for it to trace down, retest the pivot, and then continue back to the upside. Target price point, still a news price right there. We got the buy signal here on the 5. Okay, so you guys see how I marked this up on the higher time frames? I'm also going to be looking for the same thing here on the shorter time frames, right? But I'm not going to be looking for it until we have it here first. All right, so price closed above. We're still not in the free yet, guys, right? Okay, so now you need to look here on the 30-minute. I think a retracement's going to happen. See how this red candle is building up? I'm looking for it to come back down. So my markup right here, I mentioned that price was going to push up right here. And now I'm waiting for it to come back down for retracement. So price has already pushed up right here. That's the first step. I'm looking for price to retrace down and reject off one of these pivots. So there's a whole process to this. This is the 30-minute time frame. So we're not going to have that confirmation until 7:30. So I don't think we'll have any actual entries until after 7:30. It's 7 o'clock right now, so another 30 minutes here. You guys can see that price is starting to reject off this point, which is fine because if you look here on the shorter time frames, there's no confirmation here, right? We have no direction. So we're doing everything from a top-down analysis. We already have the confirmation here on the 1 hour. This is perfect. This identifies that price is going to keep pushing up. However, here on the 30-minute, we need to wait for this to actually confirm as well. So 1 hour is good. This is indicating that price is going to be bullish. 30-minute, we're looking for this to confirm too, so we can confirm that price is going to be bullish. The 10-minute here has already done it. So here's my markup here on the 10. Price pushed up. I said price was going to retrace. It's already rejecting off the yellow pivot. So this is solid. Like this is already locked in. The only higher time frame here that we need to have this confirmation on is going to be the 30-minute here. It's rejecting off it, but we need this candle here to actually close, right? If this here closes, then my markup here for price to continue to the upside is likely to play out. So just got to be patient and wait for this to play out, guys. I know this is probably like one of the biggest problems with a lot of people, especially if you're a new trader. It's just really being patient because you guys don't have the discipline to like wait for an entry. I know you guys are excited to just hop into a trade whenever you see movements happen, but there's no confirmation of trend here yet on the lower time frame. So the 10-minute here, price is in between the pivots. 5-minute over here, price is in between the pivots, but it's starting to shift, right? So if price shifts to the upside in a matter of time, you know, this 30-minute will confirm by 7:30, and then from there we can start looking for buys. So we're looking for a confirmation of trend first. Going back to the strategies over here, first requirement is to confirm overall trend. We don't have that yet, right? Because price is in between the pivots. Trend meter here is red, trend meter here is red. So looking over here on the 1 minute, it's currently bullish because price is above the pivots, trend meter is green, and the pivots are pushing to the upside. 5-minute over here, price is in between the pivots, the trend meter is still red, and the pivots are not really angling in any direction, right? So looking at this here, we don't really have an alignment of direction yet. So once we have a trend, we can start looking for entries there. Looking on the higher time frames, this here will also confirm it. So just got to wait for this to play out. I know it's a little nerve-wracking sometimes because you guys want to just hop into these trades, but just, you know, be patient and wait for that confirmation. Because here's the thing, like once price pushes above here on the 1 minute, then you'll have this whole push to the upside that you can look for entries on. But right now, we just don't have a confirmation of trend yet. It wouldn't really matter anyways, because it's right in between all these red flags. So you couldn't take any entries here even if you wanted to. Let's see, Nick said he has a buy stop set for when it comes back up at 34,299. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, so it looks like Nick is waiting for price to push through here and reach the target price point. I had this circled up from earlier this morning. All of my targets pretty much hit already. I mentioned price was going to come up to opening price, which it did. And then I had this drawing right here to point out the next target price point, which is the news price. So this is this pink line right here is from the news price this morning at 5:30. It was the inflation news. You guys can see the big spike to the downside right here. Fake out, push to the upside, fake out from the top, came straight down, super heavy. And then now it's correcting right back up to where it needs to be. So basically, let me just take everything off the chart real quick. So basically, this is all manipulation, right? I know a lot of people like to talk about manipulation. Manipulation doesn't happen all the time, but you guys can see right here that this was manipulation based off the news. So if price corrects back to where it needs to be, where does it need to be, right? This is the middle ground right here, right? This is where price was before news. So this right here is manipulation, manipulation. All this is manipulation. If price ends up coming back to this point, it's going to be correcting back to where it was supposed to be. So you kind of want to see where price was before news happened, which is literally right here. That's why this is my target price point. Because when price comes back to this point, it's going to be stabilized, right? It's going to be where it's supposed to be. Right here, this stuff all happened because of news. Like price spiked down right here because of the news at 5:30. It spiked back up, spiked back down, spiked back up. There was another news event over here at 5:55. And then from this point here, price came down, and then now it's correcting back up to where it's supposed to be. So if it doesn't make sense to you guys yet, it will eventually. You guys will understand how price reacts to the news. That's why I don't trade news ever. Whenever news happens, I just avoid it because you can't really predict what's going to happen with news. Like we knew inflation news here was going to be bad, but price shot all the way back up and then shot all the way back down. And then here it is correcting right back to the upside. But all right, let me go over here to the 30 real quick. All right, so the 30 is doing exactly what we anticipated. I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. We don't really care about that too much. What we're looking for here is this rejection off the pivot, right? We had the rejection off the pivot here on the 1 hour, rejection off the pivot right here on the 30-minute, rejection off the pivot right here on the 10. So as you guys can see here on the higher time frames, we do have a confluence with regard to these rejection points. We just need this here to close because we already have the 1 hour here close. This already confirmed it. This is next in line, right? Next in line is this 30-minute time frame. If this here closes, then I think this pattern here will just play out. You know, we'll probably get a buy signal here at some point, and then it'll probably just keep pushing up higher and higher. But that's really what we're waiting for. We have about 23 minutes left on this candle, a lot of time. You can see the volatility here is super dead. It's like price is not even moving anymore. It's starting to squeeze. So if you guys remember from my previous analysis, you know, over the years, whenever price starts to squeeze like this, what happens after this, right? A breakout. So yeah, let this price squeeze real quick, and then eventually price will probably break out in one direction or the other. And that's why you don't want to be gambling in this type of market, because you don't have a direction set yet. My guess is that it'll shoot to the upside. My target price point is still right there, but you know, I'm not here to gamble. I'm here to win. So I'm waiting for a confirmation before taking this entry. So that's the difference between taking a quality entry and taking a risky entry. You know, this would be considered a risky entry here. Even though I think price is coming up here, I'm not for sure. So that's why I'm not really looking to take anything at the moment. I'm waiting for a confirmation before I take those entries. The confirmation is going to be once this candle here closes. This candle here has about 20 minutes left on it. Once it closes here, then I'm going to be set for looking for buys. But at the moment, we just don't have that yet. Here's the 5 minute. The 5 minute starting to shift. You guys can see how price is now above the pivots. Pivots are starting to angle to the upside. trend meter down below is now blue. So we want this to turn a green so that we can confirm the trend. But you guys can see that the analysis here is starting to play out. However, you guys can see that there's still no confirmation yet. The 1 minute here is still screwing around a bit. It's going back and forth. Volatility is kind of low. Target price point still news price. But I'm not looking to hop into this just yet. So this would have been a nice push right here, but it was right at the sessions. So you guys can see the same pattern that I'm looking at on these higher time frames. I was looking for the wick rejection off the bottom here, 1 hour, 30 minute, 10 minute to confirm the direction of price. We have the same thing again over here, right? We have the rejection off the pivot right here. So this is confirming that price is going to correct back up. The 5 minute as well, we have a rejection off the pivot right here. This is going to confirm that price likely to push back up. Another thing right here is probably just another confirmation on the 1 minute right here. So if this 1 minute here rejects off the pivot, my guess is that it's going to push up a little higher as well. Maybe enough for like a speculative move or something like that. Because target price point is still going to be up here. So if you wanted to take a speculative move, hint, hint, you would take a buy right here if this closes with a rejection off the pivot. I'm giving you guys a hint there. If you guys are looking to take a speculative move, right? So just keep that in mind. Looks like it'll probably close and it'll probably push up a little higher to push at least for 100 pips. So we'll see where it goes. But, as I mentioned, you guys got to be very patient about these entries here for the official entries. There's no official entries yet, but I'm still anticipating this to push up to opening to news price up here. So just a heads up, we're still waiting for a confirmation here. So the 30 minute here still hasn't confirmed, but it'll probably confirm, in the next, it still has 20 minutes left on this candle. So it's got quite a bit of time. Rejection off the 10 here closed. So rejection off the 10 closed. I'm expecting this to push up, a little bit higher. Let's see if there's anything here. Okay, so the speculative move that I talked about, right? I took that move. I gave you guys a hint. I told you guys if this closes here, it's going to push up at least 100 pips, which I took because I said hint. This is a speculative move, and I took it. So I locked in 1,000 off that trade there. So I'll try to give you guys hints, right? So that we don't have people here complaining, right? Like the guy from last time complaining about like me taking these trades and not telling you guys. I'm gonna give you guys hints, but they're not gonna be considered official. So so that you guys can know. So I made 1,000 off that trade right there. You guys see my analysis plays out perfect. I told you guys this was gonna play out like an hour ago. What happened? My whole markup right here, perfect. So you guys are getting like an inside look into my mind, right? Because I'm showing you guys exactly what I'm looking for. It's not as easy for everyone to identify this stuff, but I've been trading for so long. So like I could literally predict where price is going because I already have an idea of like where things are going. But it's hard for me to teach you guys that. That's why I have you guys follow these strategies here. So nice work, guys. Looks like Natasha caught it. Yeah, Christian said, when I saw the laugh in Sean, I knew he was in on that. Yeah. I try to hint as hard as possible. Looks like majority of you guys caught it. Maria took it, Natasha took it, Van Harwood took it, Cece caught it, Maddie caught it, Rashida caught it. Okay, nice guys. MC caught it. Yeah. So if I see something happening, guys, I'll let you guys know. I'll try to let you guys know as much as possible. But again, I took this trade here. It's not going to count as the official trades. I don't want you guys to feel FOMO because you guys aren't taking these trades here. If you guys have been around for a while, you guys can take these trades because you guys understand that I'm taking these trades too. But I don't want to instill bad habits into the new traders here. So for the new traders, follow the strategies. If you guys are experienced and you guys have been here for a while, wait for the actual official entries to come in. So let me take a screenshot of my profits. Yeah, not bad. Walking 1,000 across all my accounts. So I just want to be straight up with you guys, okay? Because I am taking speculative moves here, but this is only because I know what I'm doing. And I'll give you guys hints when that's happening, but I don't want to because that's like the worst part. The worst part for a new trader is to start taking these risky trades and then not know what you're doing. If you guys just sit in on these live sessions for, you know, a couple of days, couple of weeks, you guys will start to understand what I'm explaining here. And then you guys can start taking these types of trades too. So looking over here on the 30-minute, this has about 16 minutes left on it. If this here closes, then the correction back up is going to confirm. Looking over here on the higher time frames, we already have the rejections off these time frames. So I think everything here is good. I think the correction back up is going to happen. It's just now looking on these shorter time frames. So looks like we're going to be looking for some buys here. The only thing we have to be worried about is the red flags, which is going to be news price over here. Yeah, let's see. David said, I'm learning so much just watching your analysis and sticking to one trade per day. You rock, Sean. Definitely, David. I'm glad to see that. Yeah, I know from the first day we spoke, you've been killing it. So great work right there. Allison is asking, could you mention how you knew it wasn't going down for a small retracement instead? Yeah. So I did a top-down analysis here, right, Allison? So like you look here on the 1 hour, I saw the wick rejection here, wick rejection there on the 30-minute, wick rejection on the 10. This confirmed that price was going to push back up, right? Because it was already correcting back up. Looking over here on the short time frames, I had the same thing over here as well. So we had the wick rejection here on the 10, wick rejection here on the 5, and then the 1 minute over here. That's where I made entry. That's why I knew there was not going to be a retracement, because the rejection was directly off the pivot. And then also I saw volume here increasing. So see where this volume here was like at it was at a low, right? So this right here rejected off the pivot. It was low. This one over here was a bit higher. So if this was going to be higher, what, like from my analysis, I was like, okay, if this is the case where price is starting to build up, then the next one is going to be like even higher, because it's going to have to like push through the average. And that's exactly what I was identifying right there, Allison. I know it's kind of confusing at first because you're also new to it, but you know, this is all going to start to make sense over time. And then also Eunice over here mentioned that there was also an SR scalp. So that's another confluence right there. I didn't identify that, but Eunice identified it and he saw it there play out. So nice work. Christian said spec ops password is hint. I know, right? Maddie said, thanks for confirming that. Speculative, I was watching it too, but wasn't sure. Yeah, no, definitely, Maddie. And Nick said it triggered his buy stop. So Nick goes over there. He was away, but his buy stop that he mentioned earlier triggered, and then he got into the trade. So nice work, guys. If you guys took it, great. If you guys didn't, completely fine. You know, wait for the next one. So I'm currently up a lot for the week so far, pretty decent. Let's look at everyone's profit so far. So on my first account, I locked in 2,570. That's my FTMO 400K account. MFF number 1 locked in 2,280. MFF number 2, 2,230. And then my MFF number 3, 2,220. So different profits across all my accounts, but altogether pretty solid. Let me just clean this up a little bit, guys. Now that we have price kind of pushing up right here, we may have some entries for our official entries. So we just got to wait for that sell signal. Once we get the sell signal here, there we go. Pending sell signal right there. Possible momentum scalp failure. We just need it to actually close, and we need volume here to be below average. However, the thing that you guys got to be careful for is red flag, right? It's right at news price. So it's one thing to look out for there. Anyways, let's look at the profits. So Kenny over here took the trade earlier. Total profit of 455 for the day. Nice work, Kenny. Great work right there. Shannon said, I believe I may have done the momentum scalp a couple times. I'll be watching the steps closely tomorrow to make sure. I took some loss getting started, but came out in the green. So Shannon over here is currently up 278 for the day. Nice work, Shannon. We have Maria over here. She took the buy with us. Total profit of 136.50 for the day. Nice work, Maria. I see that she let it run to full TP. So great work with building up your trade psychology there. Alan over here said second best day. Thanks. He locked in a total profit of 298 for the day, 85. All wins, no losses. Great work, Alan. Yeah, hopefully the mentoring session yesterday helped you out, you know, with understanding a lot of things. So great work right there, Alan. Good profit. Patricia over here as well. She's currently up 2,032 for the day. Nice work, Patricia. We have, let's see, we have Maddie over here, total profit of 965 on his first account, and then 1,061 on his second account. Solid work, Maddie. We have CC over here, total profit of 3,710, all wins. And then C-Suk's second account over here, he's currently up 3,400 for the day. So nice work, C-Suk, across both accounts. We have Christian over here, total profit of 1,206. Nice work, Christian. Looks like the slippage worked in your favor on that one. That's a great work right there, Christian. We have Will over here, total profit of 166 for the day. Nice work, Will. Pre-market, took the same trade I took earlier this morning. We've got Cameron over here, total profit of 3,840 for the day. Nice work, Cameron. Solid profits, a nice recovery on that loss. Looks like you took a loss earlier this morning for a buy. You made it right back on these next trades. Maddie over here, 900, 1,000 on a second account. Eunice over here, total profit of 64 for the day. Great work, Eunice. We have Vincent over here, total profit of 47.50 for the day. Nice work, bro. He took the buy right there as well. Same thing that we looked at. So perfect entry right there, Vincent. I'm pretty sure Vincent's going to hit the top list on FTMO again because he's been killing it. He's been on like the top list for like the past couple months. So he's probably gonna be like top 10 traders for a 10K account, I believe. So nice work, Vincent. Just keep it up and I'm pretty sure you'll reach that. So there's a momentum scalp failure right here, guys. Again, as I mentioned, I don't typically take this first entry, so I'll be following for the next one. But this right here is technically a momentum scalp failure. Let me check the TP. So this is kind of a tough. The volatility here is kind of low, so I'd probably go for the 300, the 100. If you did the 100, the 1030 would have already hit your TP, guys. If you took this here, you know, as I mentioned, I don't take the first entry whenever we look for the official entries here. If you guys want to take it, you guys are always welcome to take the trade if you like. But for me personally, this is the first leg of the move, so I typically don't like taking the first one. I usually look for the next one to follow it, which is going to be the momentum scalp variation. The only problem here is that if price does push above the pivots, the news price is going to be in the way right here. So I don't think I'll be able to take that as an official entry because, you know, as I mentioned, I'm trying to instill good habits with your guys' trading. So following my strategies over here, I can't take trades if price is too close to the news price, which is this pink line right here. It's definitely a little too close. So, I mean, we'll see where price closes. But yeah, I mean, in my personal opinion, it's just a little too close. Or I don't know, we'll see. We'll end up seeing where this closes here. I just don't want it to be too close where, you know, I end up getting caught. Yeah, it's just way too close right here. So there's possibly a momentum scalp variation that's coming up right here, but it's really close to the news price. Nick's asking what if it closed past it, past the news price or past the pivot. If it closes past the pivot, that's the entry for the momentum scalp variation. But if it touches news price, it's still invalidates it because you can't take any trades if it's touching it or if it's near it. Because the candle, like when it says near it, the candle's still technically touching the news price. So we wouldn't be able to take that. Yeah, Maddie says he's going to wait for the momentum scalp after, which is probably a better idea. I mean, if you guys want to, or if you guys feel comfortable with the position, you guys can take it. It's just, you know, it's a little, and there goes the momentum scalp that you guys are looking for. It's literally at news price. You guys can see here where price is being manipulated. There's no direction here, right? So that's why it becomes risky because price might just pull back after it closes right here. So it's still technically an official entry, but following my red flags over here, it's not one that I would take because I would avoid the trades at this point. So if you guys want to take it, you guys can take it at your own risk. This candle here is going to close in the next 10 seconds. I'll leave this marked up here if you guys do want to take it, but just keep in mind that I'm, you know, basically saying that it's going to be risky because it's right at news price because it might retrace down a little bit. All right, so there goes the entry right there. I mean, it looks like it's probably going to hit TP, but it's not a risk that I'm willing to take for me personally. Variation. So I'll just put an alert there. If it hits, then you guys will be alerted. But for me personally, it's just too close. You guys can see how the volatility is like super dead too, right? It's not really moving too much. There you go. So if you guys took the variation, it would have been a full TP. You know, I gave you guys the disclaimer ahead of time that if you guys wanted to take it, but it's just a little too risky on my end. So I know a lot of people well, not a lot of people. There's like maybe like a few people that get upset when I tell people it's too risky, but I'm telling you it's too risky because it's too risky. I'm literally telling you the reason for it. And you know, if you want to take it, it's up to you. You can take the trade still. Like I mentioned here, the strategy meets requirements. The only problem is that there's a red flag. Again, right here, momentum scalp. Same thing, guys. Like I'm not going to take this trade because it's right at the news price. However, if you guys want to take it, it's really up to you. Looking at where price is currently at right now, I would use a 25.50 now because the range is actually a lot wider. So initially we were using a 10.30 because price wasn't really moving too much. But now that price is actually pushed a bit higher, you know, it'd be a 25.50 at this point because you want to make sure that you're able to cover any drawdown that could happen at this point. So again, I'm not in this position right here because it's at my red flag. When to avoid trades when price is near news price. But if you guys want to take it, it's really up to you. You guys can see right here, like if I take everything off the chart, let me just take a couple of things off the chart here. So look at these horizontal lines on the chart, right? Basically, these are all the red flags. Sessions, which is the green, purple, and red line right here. You guys can see where price gets manipulated, right? Like price will get near this area and there's like no direction. Price will come around here, sideways, push up, sideways, push down, sideways. You don't want to trade in these types of markets. Like these conditions right here are not good because you don't really have that push to like really blast through your TP. So, you know, there's a reason why I have these red flags here, and there's a reason why I don't take the trades. It's not just because I'm trying to like prevent you guys from taking every single entry. It's just that, you know, I've lost trades at these points, and you know, from experience, I personally don't like taking trades around these areas. Like, look at this right here. See, price is right at news price, and you can see how it's starting to go into some heavy drawdown. So I'm glad I didn't take the trade. Hopefully nobody else took the trade as well. But there's a reason why we have these red flags here. You know, I didn't just create random requirements for no reason. The requirements are there for a specific reason. So I'll be waiting for the next entry here, guys. I know it's 7:30, so it's getting kind of like later into the session. There's another momentum scalp failure right here, actually. That's one that I probably would have taken, but it's too late now. Yeah, I mean, this might correct back up and then, you know, blast right through the TP right there for the momentum scalp that's already currently running. But I'm not going to FOMO into these trades here. So there's another momentum scalp failure right there. As you guys can see how the dynamics work with the TP stop loss, right? So for example, over here, this one is a 25.50 because if you look back at the previous candles, you got to be able to like withstand this drawdown, right? However, for this momentum scalp failure over here, the candle bodies are just like around, or the area for movement is just up here. So that's why you're only going for 10.30, right? So that's why for this, you guys can see the dynamics change from 10.30 to 25.50 because over here, there's less volatility. But up here, there was more volatility. So that's where that's where you would identify when you change the TP stop loss. Because that's another question I get a lot. Everyone always, or not everyone, but certain people ask, when do I use a 10.30 and when do I use a 25.50? You just look back at the previous candles. Right here, there's only so much space for their price to move. So that's why it's a 10.30. But up here, you have a bigger space. So, all right, I'm basically waiting for price to push above here. So what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for price to push above here and stay above this point. This is where I ideally would like to trade. Because if you guys look down here, there's a lot of red flags down here, right? Ton of red flags. So for me personally, I'm looking for price to close above here. Let's go back to the higher time frames. Okay, if this becomes the case here, then I think price will continue pushing up, right? Because we have the 30-minute here. It's going to close in the next minute or so. It's projecting off the pivot. I think this is just a slight retracement. And then I think price is going to correct back to the upside. I think the thing to look out for here would be these higher, well, not the higher time frames, but the shorter ones, because the higher time frames are rejecting off the pivot. So this is correcting, or it's confirming a correction back to the upside. The only difference here now is going to be the shorter time frame. So the 10-minute here looks like it's going to retrace down, and then it'll reject off the pivot. So this has about a minute left on it. It might drop a little further to touch the pivot, and then I'll probably just bounce off it and correct back up to the upside. Yeah. So the pattern that we looked at earlier for that speculative move, guys, it's looks like it's looking to play out again. So we'll see. The 10-minute over here is looking to reject off the why do these look different? Huh. So it's weird because the green pivot's above on this one, but I'm looking over here and the green pivot's like way below. It's weird. These backwards. Let me refresh this. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Did you guys notice that too? So I'm looking over here on the 10, and the green pivot is above, but on this one, the green pivot's below. Or maybe I'm tripping. No, it's the same thing. I don't know. That is weird. Yeah, I don't know why this one's different from this one. It's the same exact asset. It's just the pivot is above this one here. Or I might have to refresh this one. I don't know. That's trippy. All right, so the 30 over here bounced off the pivot. I think this will correct back up slightly. But again, we still don't have no confirmation of trend. So going back over here to the 1 minute, I just want to confirm everything again. Let's go back to the requirements over here. First requirement, confirm overall trend, right? On the 1 minute, 5 minute, and 10-minute time frame. So looking over here, we don't have a confirmation yet. You guys can see price is still in between the pivots now on the 5. It's in between the pivots here on the 10. There's no confirmation of direction. So I know this is a little frustrating for a lot of people who are looking for official entries, but this is just how the market works, right? The market's never going to be like 100% all the time. Like yesterday was good. Yesterday was a smooth move, so it was easy to just take trades for buys. But today, the setup over here didn't actually play out. We actually have a sideways market again today. So if you were to, I was going to see if I could pull up a clean chart, but I guess I could pull up a clean chart. Let me see if I could just, I'll have one chart that's just clean for YM so I can show you guys. Let me see. Do I have another layout here? Okay. So I'm just going to open this right here, and I'm going to use this as a clean chart. No markups, no indicators, no nothing. Yeah, I'm just going to close everything on here, just so that I can show you guys the bigger picture as to like where price is moving. Okay, so market opened over here at 630, because this is another key thing that a lot of people don't understand with analyzing the charts, is that looking for a direction, right? So market opened over here at 630. We're trading until about 8 o'clock today. So you can see that there's no direction here, right? Market opened right here. I'll mark up opening price. And you can see how price dropped below slightly, bounced off here. And then it made a bullish push here, bounced off this point, and price is now coming back down, right? So where do you think price is going to hit, or where is it aiming for? It's aiming back for opening price down here. No specific guarantee, but that's basically, where price is aiming for. So yeah, typically what you want to see here is you want to see something like, so this is not the best type of market to trade in. Let me just show you guys the market from yesterday. Yesterday was actually a really good market. It's perfect for us. So I showed you guys that right there from today. Okay, so this is actually what you're looking for. So yesterday was perfect conditions for us to trade in. That's why we were able to lock in those trades for the official entries. So 6:30 to 8 yesterday, this is typically what you're looking for, right? You want that straight push to the upside or straight push to the downside. So yet this is an example of a good market yesterday. Comparing this yesterday, the smooth push to the upside versus today, this is not a smooth push, right? It's a push up, consolidation, push back down. And at this point, we don't know what's going to happen next. So I just want to give you guys an understanding as to like what's a good market or what's not a good market today versus yesterday, which is a perfect market. This is like ideal market conditions, right? Because you just take buys here, price pushes up, retrace, you take your buy there, full TP, price push up, retrace, you take your buy there, full TP, right? That's how we took our trades yesterday because it was so simple. I mean, if you were only to take trades based off the momentum indicator, look how easy that is, right? Like literally every buy signal here you take, buy signal, full TP, buy signal, full TP, right? Works out perfect. This is the type of market that you typically want to trade in, but obviously we don't have that today, unfortunately. Price is kind of just going back and forth a lot, how it is right here. So, all right, guys, we're just going to keep looking for a confirmation here. I mean, if price swings back below, then that's perfectly fine. We can possibly look for sells here, but it's getting close to 8. So I was hoping by 8 o'clock or by 7:30, we'd have a direction, but it doesn't look like we're having that anytime soon. Looking over here on the 1 hour, guys. Okay, actually, so now that I'm looking at this here, if you guys remember the wick rejection that I was talking about earlier. So look what happened here, guys. Let me just show you a quick. So look how the 10-minute rejected off the pivot right here. Look how the 30-minute rejected off the pivot right here. And then look how the 1 hour rejected off the pivot right here. So what does this indicate to you? This indicates that price might be coming back down, right? Because the higher time frames, wick rejection off the top, wick rejection off the top, wick rejection off the top. Where's price likely to go? Back down. Going back to the 1 minute over here, where's target price point? Opening price, which it's already at, back to open. So this is just as frustrating to me as it is to you guys if you guys are looking for the official entries, because I was waiting for that as well. I was waiting for price to continue pushing up, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to take an official entry here and it's going to like top off my profits. But unfortunately here, we just don't have that. But again, right here, we had the wick rejection off the top side. So price might just be correcting right or swinging back down. It's crazy how fast it's dropped though. If you look over here, so price pushed from this bottom point to this higher point right here. So this bottom point to this high point, that's like 3,000 pips, right? Within like less than an hour. And then it just crumbles right back down right here from this high point to here within like 30 minutes, or not even 30 minutes. Let's see. Within 20 minutes, price drops back down another 2,500 pips. So yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see where this ends up going. I mean, it looks like price might be dropping a little more. I would have taken this for a speculative move, but it's already too far below. See how far. Yeah, it's too far below because it's due for retracement at this point. And the thing is, there's no target price point for me to aim for. So I'm not going to enter this right here. There's no point in me speculating right here at this point. It would have been nice right here. Maddie actually took it. So Maddie said he caught the move to open, which that would have been ideal right here when price closed below. That would have been an ideal chase, further down. But where price is currently at, there's no target price point. I mean, the next target price point might be like down here at this low, but that's just a gamble at that point. It's not really a strong price structure. Price structures that I would look at would be like opening price, heavy news price like this over here. But it already reached it. So this news price has already been tested. it looks like price is just bouncing from like, so price corrected up here. It faked out people that were looking for that buy, and then it dropped back down. And I wouldn't be surprised if like by the end of the day, price comes right back up. You know, that's the market. Market plays games on like people all the time. If you're not analyzing the market fully all throughout the day, this is how you kind of get caught in these traps. You know, like everyone mentioned earlier, today's Tuesdays are considered Trap Tuesday. A lot of people like to dub Tuesdays as Trap Tuesday. And this is exactly why, right? So many traps in both directions. So like, for example, today, you could have gone trapped on either side today. Could have gone trapped from the top, could have gone trapped from the bottom. Opening price is right here. Yeah, opening price is right there. So like literally there's so many areas to get trapped in. Could have got trapped down here. Could have gone trapped up here. Ton of ways to get trapped. It's just like, it's like a little game, right? But like the thing is, we're not playing in their game, we're playing in our own game. So we don't get caught in these traps here because we prevent ourselves from getting caught in them by really analyzing the market fully. Hey Malcolm, how's it going? Yeah, no, definitely. The latest party stayed out, no FOMO. Yeah, no, that's solid. You know, if you guys made profits today, that's great. If you guys didn't, there's no official entry. So, you know, I just want to be straight up with you guys. Like, I'm trying to instill like good habits in you guys to like be able to stay out of the market. It's really just instilling discipline, because that's really what's going to make you a consistently profitable trader. Like, for example, here, you could have chased the sell here and you could have made some profit, but you also could have lost some profit. You chased the buy here earlier, you know, the confirmation never played out. If you chased the buy up here, you could have gotten burnt at this top end. And then again, right here, if you're chasing this sell, which I definitely don't recommend, you could get burnt down here too, because price might just be correcting right back to the upside. So it's all good. Let me see if there's anything else here. So here's Brock's profits for the day. He locked in 1,040. Nice work, Brock. He took that trade for S&P. Kenny's profits right there. Patricia over here, she took a couple trades earlier today as well. She's currently up 2,660. Nice work, Patricia. Sisuk over here, he's currently up 4,600 for the day. Nice work, Sisuk. And then his second account over here, he's currently at 4,410. Solid work right there, Sisuk. Nick over here mentioned he took the momentum scalp when it closed above the price, hit his stop loss done for the day. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, so the reason, well, I mean, you guys know the reason why I didn't take that trade, because it was right at the session, right at the news price. So he literally caught that like right at the top. Unfortunately, caught it at the worst time. You know, I didn't even take a screenshot of mine over here. So these are my profits right here, but I'll take a screenshot of my individual accounts because the profits are different per account. So here's my FTMO 400K account. Show you guys this here. So, I mean, the accounts are sitting nice today, even though we didn't have, you know, unfortunately, we didn't have any official trades. It's getting close to 8. Let me check real quick to see if everything is starting to shift. So the problem with this here is that, okay, we could have a possible entry here, but so we may have a possible entry for like right at the very end right here, but I'll analyze it and I'll see, because the volume here is starting to die down a little bit. We need a buy signal. So looking over here on the 5, 10, and 1, we currently have a bearish bias. Reason for that is because price is below the pivots, trend meter is red, pivots are angling down. Over here on the 1 minute, you guys can see that price is still below here. So we're looking at the next entry that we'll have here will be a momentum scalp failure. In order for us to get that entry, we need to get a buy signal here. So once we get a buy signal at this point, that's going to set off the possibility of a momentum scalp failure. We just got to make sure volume here is below average. So what I'm looking for here is a buy signal, but we want to make sure that the volume down here is below the blue line. So we'll see how that plays out, but let's give it some time. We still have about 15 minutes till 8, guys. So there's still time for entry here. So don't worry if you haven't got anything yet. Hopefully we'll get at least one official entry by the end of the day. Can't guarantee it, but I'm hoping we do. Because I mean, that's the only thing that counts towards the results, the official entries, right? Even though I made a bunch of profit today, it's not going to count towards the results. Like, even though a lot of you guys made profit today, it's not going to count towards the results. Because I'm doing this as I guess like it's a little bit of an experiment. It's more of a proof of concept that applying these 3 strategies, if you just stick to these 3 strategies here, you should be fine long term, right? All throughout the year. So it's just about patience and waiting for it, following these 3 strategies and also following the red flags. So it's going to be a slow roll, but what I'm trying to show you is that long term, it will it'll pay off. All right, so let me go ahead and just post my accounts real quick. Still no buy signal, so we're waiting for that buy signal there to come up. Here is my profit. So here's my main account. This is my FTMO 400K account. And you can see the green strip, so let them run straight to full TP. Total profit of 2,570 on this specific account. My FTMO number 1, I locked in 2,280, some slippage over here. It's all good, it happens. Same with my MFF number 2, 2,230. And then my third MFF, total profit of 2,220. So as you guys can see, there's still slippage here. Some of you guys were asking, if MFF is a better alternative to FTMO. I'm going to stand by my statement 100%, guys. It doesn't matter whatever, like if you phrase your question differently, there's nothing that's going to be better than FTMO, right? Like just because MFF is cheaper, it's not going to be, you guys can see the difference here. 780, 780, 730, locking 1,000 on my main account. I don't think this is a copier issue either. It's just a broker issue. It just their execution times are a little bit slower. So my opinion is not going to change. FTMO is always going to be number 1. So whether you guys want to take my advice or not, if you guys want to take the cheaper route and go for MFF or even TFF, I would never recommend TFF, not for scalping. But MFF is like the second alternative, because you guys can see this is a big profit difference, right? If this happens to you, like in more than like 5 or 10 trades, like you think about it, I'm missing out on like $300 there. So $300, and say you take like 20 trades in a month, right? Times 20, you're out like 6,000 per account. So I would just pay the premium, get the FTMO. And then when you're done with the FTMO and you have the max allocation, once you get this certificate, then okay, go and move on to MFF. But until you get that, max out your FTMO and just stick to it. So, all right, some more profits over here from Brock. So let's see, Brock said he took some sells, total profit of 5,015 for the day on this account. Solid work right there, Brock. And then he took another trade here, total profit of 8,735. Nice. Yeah, so Brock here said that he finally recovered from his verification. He was like in a deep drawdown, I believe. And then he made his profit right back to break even. So I would probably, or I don't even know if you'll get a free retry. You probably just have to pass at this point. Over here, Shaka's profits for the day. He said he took variations during London and it worked out. Total profit of 4,050 for the day with Shaka. Nice work, Shaka. So solid profits right there. And then Seth over here, he's currently up 17,000 for the day. Yeah, pretty much all wins, no losses. So it looks like, yeah, pretty good work right here, Seth. Good to see you back in the group again. I know you were here yesterday, but glad to see that you're back, here consistently. We got Sammy over here, total profit of 1,190. Nice work, Sammy. You should check the buy earlier. I still don't know if Sammy's a guy or a girl, but Sammy, if you're a guy or a girl, Sammy took the trade earlier today, total profit of 1,190. Jennifer over here, total profit of 8,668 for the day. Yeah, some back and forth trades here, but you definitely made it right back up. So solid work right there, Jenny. And then Jenny took another trade here. She's currently up 10,818. Solid work, Jennifer. So great work right there. We still don't have a buy signal, guys, so don't worry, you're not missing out on anything. I'm still waiting for that buy signal to come up here. It's 7:48 right now, so there goes a buy signal that's coming up. Let me just look at everything over here. All right, we have a possible buy. Okay, so there's a buy signal there, but the volume is above average. So looking at the volume bar, okay, we have another one here that's pending. We'll be looking at that. So I'm still looking at the chart. Don't worry, guys. Eyes are on the chart right now. Maddie's currently up 762 on this account, and then 1,113 off this one. Solid work, Maddie. And then here's his profit so far across all of his accounts. So for the week so far, pretty solid. And then here's Anelli's other account. He's pretty much just testing out strategies on this account. Total profit is 5,688. Nice work, Anelli. Yeah, so he's playing with the snipes on the higher time frames. If you guys know my snipe strategy, it still works perfectly fine. You guys can see Anelli here still applying it, and it's working for him. All right, so if the sell signal here closes, or a buy signal, sorry, it's technically an entry for a momentum scalp failure. It already hit full TP. So if you guys took it, looks like it blasted right through the TP. The problem with this here is that we don't have price above the pivot. So until price goes above the pivots, we're not going to have a momentum scalp variation, at least not yet. Yeah, we need price to retrace up. So this here was an invalid invalid buy signal, but it still fit the criteria. So if you guys took the trade here, this thing blasted right through. This was a TP. No official entry because obviously, I don't take the first entry there. If you guys took it, it played out nice. Man, I was hoping this would close above. So if this closed above here, this next candle would have been the momentum scalp variation. But we just do not have that yet. Check the other time frames. Yeah, unfortunately, so sorry guys, Mike. So this here was a momentum scalp failure. We had an overall trend for a sell. This was a retracement momentum signal. This here may be the momentum scalp entry. So I'll only take this if the volume is above average, because what looks like is happening here is that the volume is starting to die down a little bit. But then now that I'm looking at it again, the candle here is just a little too big. Yeah, this doesn't look like a good entry to me, because if it's too big, it might have to retrace up a little bit. The volume looks like it may be above average though. So let's see where it's at. No, there's no sell signal there. Yeah, exactly. CT said price moving too fast with below volume spikes. Yeah, I don't like that either, CT. That's like one thing that I'm looking at, because I wanted the volume to be above average, but it was just a big spike. It was a spike in price. So if this here closes, guys, as I mentioned before, I like when these candles or when these strategies come out right after each other. So we had a momentum scalp failure come up right here, but we never had a momentum scalp variation come up. So this is probably going to be one that I'm going to sit out on. I'll mark it up for you guys if it does play out. But, as I mentioned, there's this is going to be considered risky for me because I typically wanted these to follow through, at least these other entries. So, my breakdown for this is that, yes, we had a momentum scalp failure, but we didn't have a momentum scalp variation. Whenever these line up right after each other, this one plays out, and this one plays out, and this one plays out, then in that case, I do have a better idea of this one over here playing out too. As you guys can see from this candle too, it's having trouble closing. It's had a sell signal for about the past 3 candles, but it hasn't been able to close. So We'll see. Yeah, Nelly over here also took the failure. So he took this one right here on his funded account, total profit of 2,080. Nice work, Nelly. I wanted to take that entry too, but I held off on it. I really wanted to take the momentum scalp variation, but it didn't end up playing out. This would have been the entry here if this closed above the pivots, but unfortunately it didn't. So again, guys, I'm going to mark this up here as the momentum scalp. I'm not going to take the trade though. I'll follow it through. If you guys want to follow it, feel free. But yeah, so when you see candles like this where it's trying to close with a sell signal, but it doesn't have enough power to push down and actually close, this is usually a sign that it's losing its strength, right? So if it keeps losing its strength like that, odds of it retracing back up are very likely. So I probably hold off on taking this momentum scalp. I'll follow it for you guys, but you know, as I mentioned, the strength here for a sell is starting to die down. So I don't know if this will even push anywhere further. It's actually at a new low. So there's no other target price point for it to reach here on the 1 minute, right? If you look back pretty far, next target price point is like way down here. But there's nothing nearby for you to really aim towards if you guys do take the sell here. So yeah, definitely not looking to take this entry here. And this is probably gonna be an invalid signal. So Madu's asking if I would take it as a triple confluence. If it closed down here, possibly I would have taken it. But as you can see, like the sell signal here is having a lot of trouble getting past it. That's why I probably wouldn't, because you can see as if this starts to happen and price starts to go sideways, this is where you're kind of screwed, right? Because if price starts to go sideways right here, that's a sign that price is going to swing back up. That's kind of like what happened right here, right? Price started to go sideways a bit. And then if you were in a sell there, you would have been screwed because price would have just went straight up. So for me personally, I wouldn't want to take the risk in my personal, you know, aspect of like trading, because it's too much of a risk for me, especially when I made like a pretty good profit for the week so far. So I'm really not looking to risk anything, because it's going to knock out my profits for the day. So again, right here, guys, a possible entry for a momentum scalp does not look like it's going to close. Yep, again, failed to close right there. Let me scroll up real quick. I think we had one question from yeah, Glenn said he thinks it's going to consolidate. I agree too, Glenn. That's why I'm not really looking to take the trade here, because the same pattern right here that's playing out is the same thing that happened right here, right? Last thing you want to do is catch the short end of the stick. There's no buy, there's no sell signal here, so there's actually no entry. But if you do get a sell signal here, you know, this might be the bottom. So I probably wouldn't want to play with it. All right, let me see real quick. Let me scroll up. So question from Allison. Allison is asking, when you mean you want them to play back to back, do you mean no? So I want, so let me just read your question entirely, Allison. So Allison's asking, when you want them, what you mean, when you mean you want them to play back to back, do you mean a green and red momentum on the immediate candle? No, I want the strategies to play back to back. So you know how we had a momentum scalp failure right here, Allison? I wanted a momentum scalp variation to follow it, which never came up because price was never above the pivots, right? So that's what I mean by that. So there's one strategy right here that played out, momentum scalp failure. And this one obviously went to TP, right? So after that one, or even while it's still running, I would want the momentum scalp variation to come up right after it. That's what I mean about back to back. The momentum signals have nothing to do with it. It's just because the momentum scalp variation doesn't require any momentum. It just requires that price swings up and then comes back down. But that never really happened. I mean, technically, if you wanted to like identify this right here, this would technically be a momentum scalp variation. But the problem is there was never a buy signal that like, you know, kind of came up and then identified that swing up and correction. So yeah, that's what I was talking about, Allison. I wanted this strategy to play out, and then this one to play out, and then this one to come out right after. So like full TP on this one, full TP on this one, and then this one would be like the last leg of the move. Because like, so looking at the momentum scalp failure, That'd be the first leg, right? So the first leg would be right here. Retracement, momentum scalp failure. Comes back down. That's the second leg of the move right here. This would be a momentum scalp variation. And then after that, it'd be a continuation. So basically, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for price to swing up and then come back down, right? When you have something like this, that's the momentum scalp failure. That's where you take it for the first move right here. That'd be the first move, right? And then the other entry would be down here. When price pushes down lower, that's going to be the momentum scalp variation. So for that again right there, price closes below, say this is a pivot. I'm just going to draw an imaginary line right here. So say there's a pivot right here, and then price closes below it, right? Then at that point, that's going to be a momentum scalp variation. So they're coming right after each other. And then after this one, say there is a sell signal that comes up right here, right? Then that would be a momentum scalp. So does that make sense, Allison? Like you want them to come back to back. So the first entry here would be a momentum scalp failure. The one that closes below the pivots would be a momentum scalp variation. And then this is the last leg right here. The momentum scalp. You know, there's actually a momentum scalp variation that's coming right here, guys. Ah, fuck, I missed it. There is, yeah, it was just a really late momentum scalp variation. Let me see if I get in for a late entry, or maybe I can get in for the momentum scalp after it. So this right here is actually momentum scalp variation, guys. It just came up like very, very late. So there was the momentum scalp failure that came up over here. And then this one over here would have been the actual momentum scalp variation. I mean, I totally missed it because the thing just ended up coming down super heavy. But I mean, it's whatever. Just got to take that as an L. I missed the entire move right there. But yeah, so you guys can see right here that it comes up like late sometimes, right? So like we were kind of talking about this before where, oh yeah, and the Fed member is speaking right now at 8. Yeah, of course, we wouldn't take a trade. And it's 8 o'clock. So there wouldn't be an entry right there. But the momentum scalp variation could come later like that, like how it just came up later. It, yeah, thanks, Madhu, for the heads up. The FOMCs right now. So Fed member, I'm speaking right now. There's a Fed member speaking right now. Yeah, 8 o'clock. Fed member Logan is speaking right now. So as I mentioned earlier, guys, not a good time to trade. I think that's about it. So we had a pretty good day today, guys. A lot of profits across the board. If you guys have more profit to post up, feel free to post them up. Otherwise, we're going to be wrapping it up for the day. So Sam over here locked in total profit of 410 for the day. Nice work, Sam. We got Wesley over here, total profit of 460 for the day. Nice work, Wesley. And Natasha over here, total profit of 980 for the day. So we had pretty much, I mean, there's no official trades today. Unfortunately, we were waiting for an entry to come up, but news came up right here at 8 o'clock. I forgot I had it marked up, but I guess I deleted it. And I think that's about it. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We have Sisu over here, total profit of 7,500 for the day. Nice work, Sisu. And then his second account, 5,560. So, all right, guys, I don't recommend trading right now because there's the Fed speaking right now. Thanks for the heads up, Madhu. We had Fed member Logan speaking here at 8. Fed member Harker speaking over here at 8:30. Fed member Williams speaking later today. It's not a good time to trade. That's why you got that big spike right there. Sell signal never came up for the momentum scalp, but you guys can see the momentum scalp variation came up like very late over here. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for now. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me. You guys can email me at sean@kodikaitrades.com. Otherwise, you guys can message me on Telegram at KodiKaiTrades. But other than that, I think that's about it. So, all right, guys, I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for the next, or actually, we're going to have the mentoring session later today, guys, for the afternoon people. I don't know if we're going to keep doing it because the person who asked for it, like he didn't even show up to like last week. I'm gonna host it again this week, guys. But if the person that asked for the afternoon session doesn't show up again for this session, then I don't know if it's gonna be relevant for us to take it. If you guys want me to keep hosting the mentoring session on Tuesdays, that's fine. I'll come on. So if you guys want to come back today, what we have the mentoring session at 5 p.m. I don't mind showing up for the mentoring session. So you guys are more than welcome to show up if you guys have any questions or if you guys want me to cover anything. But if nobody shows up, then we're just not going to have, mentoring sessions on Tuesday. So, all right, guys, if you guys want to show up, it's going to be today at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Otherwise, if I don't see you guys then, I'll see you guys here tomorrow for the next live session. So, all right, guys, catch you guys then, and I'll see you guys either tonight or tomorrow.